Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. This is CBC Windsor News. Thanks for watching. Tonight, more tension at local schools around gender identity in the midst of Pride Month celebrations. A mother's worst nightmare. Fortumo Kuso is speaking out after her daughter was killed. And a Windsor man's search for more affordable student housing has made its way to Parliament. Let's start with a live look outside right now because we are keeping a close eye on the weather. We are officially under a severe thunderstorm warning for the Windsor-Essex region right now. Environment Canada says that the storm can produce strong winds, Toonie-sized hail, and heavy rain, and it could also produce tornadoes. Now, it doesn't look like that right now, but we are keeping a close watch, and we're going to take a closer look at this later in the program. But officials are warning that if threatening weather approaches, take cover. We are right in the middle of Pride Month, which is often associated with celebration and inclusivity. For some parents in Windsor, it also raises concerns about what's happening in local schools. The CBC's Jason Vio breaks down an ongoing conflict.
Right now, students at any age can come to school and identify by whatever name, gender, or pronouns they want. Now, that gender expression policy is in place at schools in Windsor-Essex and right across the province. Some parents, though, want to be a part of that journey with their children and don't like the idea of secrets being kept from them. But board officials say school is a safe space and that children will come out when they want and to who they want to.
I have to sign a permission slip to send my kid to call his aunties, but if they want to start to do a social transition, that's the proper term of what gender identity accommodation is, they can hold that secrets against us. My thing is I'm going to be approaching MPPs and MPs to find a solution and let people know that, hey, we're here and we're not hateful people. We're just concerned parents that are concern for our child.
I don't think it's a lot of parents. I think it's a very loud, vocal minority. And if it was my daughter, I would be happy that she had a safe space where she would be able to express her gender, even if that might not include me for a period of time. I would hope that it would. I hope to be her parent and her biggest supporter.
Parents are our key partners and stakeholders.
In New Brunswick, a similar policy was changed just last week. Now, children under the age of 16 need parental consent to change their name or gender at a school in that province. A Windsor trustee says a shift in policy there doesn't mean the one here needs to be reviewed or changed. So what happens behind these walls when a student says to a teacher that they want to go by a different name or gender? The simple answer, the school board says they will respect that choice. As for the discussions that happen after that disclosure is made, well, that's mostly up to the teacher's discretion.
At the school board, we follow the Ontario Human Rights Code, and it is against the code to misgender a student. And so if a student would like to go by a particular pronoun, then we simply call them by that pronoun. There's not an encouragement in terms of asking anybody to go down a certain path. What we do is we allow for inclusive spaces where students feel safe enough if they do want to disclose something to an adult at the school.
One public school board trustee, though, says these topics have no place in schools.
I just don't think it's correct to ask the kids, the innocent kids, to learn those kind of theories, and before they are fully matured to know to have judgment about what is correct, what is wrong.
Chin also tells CBC News roughly 75% of students at Northwood Public School were absent on Friday, June 2nd. That was a national effort protesting the pride flag raising. Administration wouldn't confirm attendance numbers, but one school union says it was down to half at some schools on that day. But when these types of things happen, Wendy Nicholson says it sends a negative message to the LGBTQ community. As chair of the Windsor Pride Fest, she's noticed a shift.
It's a vicious cycle. It was kind of calming down, and everybody was just kind of accepting it and not having a problem with it. And unfortunately, from the States, that seeped over here, and it's created all this hullabaloo.
In the end, Nicholson says she hopes the community stops the hate and avoids spreading it. As for the Parents for Parents' Rights group, they say they're not hateful people. The people I spoke with at this rally last week say they don't want secrets being kept from them about their children. And Trustee Chin says she does support the LGBTQ community, but when Nicholson hears about opposition like this, she says that paints a bit of a different picture. Jason Vio, CBC News, Windsor.
The mother of a Windsor woman who police say was killed by her estranged husband says she's living a nightmare. Sarah Boulet's body was found last week after she was declared missing last month. This is Boulet with her mother, Fortumo Cusso. Cusso says her daughter had left her husband shortly before her death, saying that she went to Windsor's hiatus house before she went missing. Brian Aaron Marbury is now charged with first-degree murder, and that charge has not been proven in court. Cusso says she wants to share Boulet's story, hoping that it can help women who are in unhealthy relationships. Here's part of her conversation with Windsor Morning's Nav Nanwa.
I still don't know why. Why did it have to be like that? So I'm still in shock, trying to put things together in my head to see that this actually happened, and this person was responsible. There was a call leaving her phone at 4:20 Saturday morning, and I texted and I thought, why is she up this time? But then Monday I didn't hear from her, and then I texted her and I said, hey, are we still on today? And she didn't respond. And then I thought, that's odd. Maybe she's tired. Maybe she's caught up in meetings. And then 9 o'clock Saturday night, I sent her a text saying that, hey, maybe you got busy today. Let me know tomorrow when we can get together. And Tuesday morning, police came because the shelter had reported her as a missing person.
Part of the reason you wanted to speak to us today was because you wanted to reach other women who may find themselves or may be currently in an unhealthy relationship. What message do you have for them?
Not only that, but what I found is that the entire system is not really set up for women that are trying to get out. Because my daughter was really, really smart. And if she saw another woman that happening to her, she'd be the first to stand up and say, this can't be happening. But it was so hard for her to see it in herself and to see that she was also a victim. And also it was a struggle for her to involve the police. But I wasn't allowed to say anything. Like when there was an injury and we went to the doctor, and because she's an adult, they take her information, they speak to her. But if I say, can I add this to this? You don't have to tell me what she said, because that's privacy, I understand that, but can I say something? Can I add to? Because I know my daughter, because she's even in the highest of her pain, she was still trying to protect this person.
Do you think if you were allowed to do that, she'd be alive today?
I think so. I think so, because she was an intelligent woman, and if somebody outside of me gave her the full picture of what she was looking at, because I don't think she ever had the full picture of what she was looking at. And this is not somebody she just dated for a few months. This is somebody she spent her entire adult life with. So you could understand that there was commitment to this person, that she would have rather not even ask for divorce and just leave him alone. That's how far she would go, that not to even do any harm to him. But I don't think she appreciated the magnitude of the danger she faced.
Like you mentioned earlier, her estranged husband has been charged with her death and is not convicted as of yet. Mm-hmm. But unless there is a guilty plea, there will be a trial for Zada's death. How difficult do you expect that to be?
That would be really, really difficult, because I think we would have, if there is a trial and if the charge moves forward, that we might have to see things, images, for example, that I'm kind of like anticipating, things that might be said about her that's not true. So those are things, but I'm committed to being there and hearing what was said and what's shown, to be there on her behalf if when this moves forward.
The tragic loss of Boulet has once again sparked conversations about femicide and domestic violence. We spoke with a clinical therapist at the University of Windsor who's also close to the family. She's calling for more proactive responses when it comes to violence against women and hopes the conversations now will make a difference.
I'm looking at this as Zada's legacy. She was more than just the situation of being murdered. Just listening to the stories about her and her caring and her kindness, her focus on social justice. And the only joy or hope that I have from this is the fact that her legacy is going to be a strong, brilliant, bright one. And I hope that because of her and because of everything that now is being done by people and people actually beginning to want to talk about this, is that even if we save one other woman because of what we're doing right now, because people are willing to begin to speak about it, her legacy is forever. She's changed people's lives.
There is going to be a vigil for Boulay this Saturday. It starts at 7:30 p.m. at the Giant Flag by Olette on the river, and the focus will be remembering Boulay's legacy and standing up to violence. We are following a developing story in Manitoba. Police say at least 15 people are dead and others are injured after a collision on a highway 2 hours outside Winnipeg. Police say there was a crash between a semi-trailer truck and a transit vehicle used for passengers with mobility issues. The RCMP saying there were 25 people on the bus. Many of them were seniors. Dozens of emergency vehicles raced to the scene along with air ambulances from Winnipeg and Regina. First responders tried to deal with flames as they worked to rescue victims. Area hospitals issued a code orange and expected to receive multiple patients with injuries, some severe. Police say that 10 people have been taken to hospital with injuries, and people were asked to stay off the Trans-Canada Highway in the area while they dealt with the crash. We will have more details on our website as they come in. The plight of a 24-year-old Windsor man that we told you about in April has made it all the way to the House of Commons. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh used the CBC Windsor story as an example of the housing crunch. He's pressing the government for better affordable housing for students. Our Dale Molnar has this update on the story he brought us a few weeks ago.
I've got 2 months to either pick up the lease on this apartment that I'm currently living in with my sister, or I'm on the verge of homelessness.
That was Damon Farnsworth McCorkle's situation in April when we talked to him about the high cost of rent. Last Tuesday, his story made it to the House of Commons, courtesy of Jagmeet Singh.
Take, for example, a student in Windsor. The CBC reports that a 24-year-old student living in an apartment in Windsor with his sister is on the verge of homelessness because the cost of rent has gone up by so much.
Mr. Speaker, we took this issue seriously back in 2017 when we put forward a $40 billion national housing strategy that Conservatives opposed.
At $800 a month, this makes sense. It's affordable. You got your kitchen, little dining room, living room, and then a single bedroom. But for it to hike up $400 in a matter of like a month, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Today, Farnsworth McCorkle is still in the apartment. His sister has moved out, and he can't afford the rent he'll have to pay if he stays longer than the end of the month.
The plan is to move in with my stepdad because he needs some home care, and he's got an extra couch I can sleep on. So, kind of I scratch his back, he scratches mine.
He says he's honored his story made it to Ottawa, but he says this problem is bigger than him.
In Essex County alone, there are so many people on the verge of homelessness. And it's not just young people, too. It's people with families, with kids that can't afford it. So it's about time the government actually steps in and starts actually funding affordable housing. We need something we need some quick solutions, soon, much sooner than later.
For now, Farnsworth McCorkle's income is $600 to $700 a month from a part-time paid apprenticeship as a cook. According to the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, the vacancy rate in Windsor is 1.8%, and the average cost of a two-bedroom apartment is $1,200. Windsor West MP Brian Massey says high interest rates need to be addressed as part of the solution.
So we have to do better with regards to interest rates and start being more creative about how people can even retain their current mortgages and not be thrown out on the streets. It's got to be multifaceted to lower cost of living in general. Otherwise, we're going to have more of these cases.
CBC News reached out to Liberal MP Eric Kuzmarchuk for a response, but an interview was not scheduled. MP Chris Lewis was not available for an interview. As for Farnsworth McCorkle, he hopes to get another part-time job so he can afford an apartment in a region that has one of the country's highest unemployment rates. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Windsor.
Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino dodged questions today. He was not able to explain why he was not informed by his office sooner about the prison transfer of serial killer and rapist Paul Bernardo. It comes after news that the Prime Minister's office also said it knew back in March about a possible transfer. Ashley Burke has the latest on the political firestorm unfolding on Parliament Hill.
What happened in your office, Minister? Good morning.
A cabinet minister in crisis, facing growing calls to step down.
Will he do the honorable thing and resign right here, right now?
I'm focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is doing my job.
Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino called to testify at a parliamentary committee on foreign interference, but couldn't escape questions about his latest controversy, Paul Bernardo. Mendicino said he didn't know about Bernardo's prison transfer until after it happened, despite his office and the Prime Minister's office both saying they were given advance warning back in March.
There is no doubt in my mind, Madam Chair, that the Minister had the information about this transfer.
That question is so is riddled with inaccuracies and falsehoods, it doesn't even begin to warrant an answer.
Mendicino gave a brief statement.
I've taken the corrective steps to ensure that that does not happen again.
Then tried to avoid taking any questions from journalists.
Is it a standard operating procedure at your office that you are kept in the dark? And will you let anyone go in response to the handling of this?
Of course not. And my job as the Minister of Public Safety is to make sure that we are identifying issues where there are challenges on information flow.
Mendicino unable to explain why he says staff didn't brief him for nearly 90 days.
There should be consequences in his office, certainly, but this is a broader problem within this government.
Did you fire someone? They didn't give you such information?
As ministers, we're ultimately responsible for what happens in our offices.
Then Mendicino took a back seat in question period, letting the House Leader answer the opposition leader.
His office knew 3 months beforehand, and his cabinet has the power to direct the correctional authorities to keep mass murderers in maximum security prisons.
It's unfortunate that the Leader of the Opposition mischaracterized what happened. He knows very well that Correctional Services Canada makes those decisions independently.
The question now is, does the Prime Minister still have confidence in Mendicino? And will he come out now and publicly defend him or not? Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
We want to share some news with you tonight about our team. We just won a Radio Television Digital News Association Award for Best TV Newscast for Small and Medium Markets. It was for our coverage back in February of last year of the Ambassador Bridge blockade. We're all pretty stoked by this, and we want to thank you for watching then, and thank you for watching now, because ultimately we do this for you. Let's take a live look outside there. Dark and stormy. We are dealing with that nasty thunderstorm that we're expecting to move on through. We're going to have weather coming right up after the break. Stay with us. Johanna Wagstaff joins us now for a look at local weather. And Johanna, you're joining us just as we are in the midst of a severe thunderstorm warning. So bring us up to speed here.
That's right, Katerina. Things are really ramping up as we speak as a series of storms slides across the border. I want to take you right now to the watches and warnings because South Windsor is under a thunderstorm warning, and those cells are just crossing. We are seeing the rest of southwestern Ontario up to Sarnia under that thunderstorm watch, and this will be as these storms progress east. And I also wanted to point out that Detroit Beach is under a tornado warning. So some of these cells are showing rotation, not the cells crossing into Ontario right now, but there is potential. So if you are outside or have any plans over the next couple of hours, take cover and head indoors because these storms have the potential to push severe limits. There's a lot of lightning with these storms as well. The main threats will be very strong winds up to 100 kilometers per hour, large size hail, and again, the threat of a tornado can't be ruled out with these. I just have to put on the lightning detector though, hundreds of lightning strikes. And you know, if you're looking out your window right now, you're seeing that coming in from the west. So really intense but isolated storm cells. And this is coming with that system that's been sliding in from the west all day. I know you've been seeing the increasing clouds, a few showers. Now we're really getting into the cold front of this system. For the most of the day, you were in between two low pressure systems, are exiting low, bringing us a fairly nice day yesterday. But this storm maker is going to be the story for the next couple of hours. Once this line of thunderstorms swings through tonight, a much calmer late evening. And as we head into Friday, most of the action will be well east of southwestern Ontario. So clearing out for your Friday won't be the same story in through Lake Ontario, but Lake Erie looking pretty good as far as a calmer end to the week and a much calmer weekend as well. But look at that, Saturday, this same low pressure system still sort of lingering and spinning around eastern Ontario, but Windsor, all of that rain we're seeing right now, that's pretty much it for the weekend. Not that we couldn't use any. You know, we're still under extreme drought conditions, and I don't see any real rain in the forecast until early next week. Katerina, the other thing we're watching for, a bit of a humidex tomorrow, seasonal temperatures for the weekend, and hot and muggy, but very active right now. So definitely head indoors if storms are headed your way.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate the latest, Johanna.
You're welcome.
When we come back, we'll have more news updates for you. Stay with us. A British couple is in Canada waiting for the right winds to whisk them away from a pit stop on the East Coast. They have high hopes of setting 2 world records as they cross the Atlantic Ocean in a balloon. The pilot and her blind co-pilot call it magical.
Here's our home for an indeterminate period. The bunk or bench, it's padded. One of us at night would sleep on that. Here, that'll be our cooking table. There's Deborah's control panel with the instruments on it.
We wanted to do something that hadn't been done before, and this, whilst a woman has been across, it's not a first from that perspective. No woman has captained a flight across the Atlantic.
And they didn't have a blind crew person.
We went on standby from June 7th, and now we're waiting for the right weather system to take us across.
A steady flow, really, isn't it? 4 days, we think, would be the shortest time, and longest 7 or 8. We don't know.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting, and then I think when I look up and just see stars, that will be amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Because I've never seen unpolluted sky. You know, almost everywhere you go in Britain, I can't think of somewhere where we could go where there won't be light pollution. Everybody here is really helpful. It's a very friendly town. We've had a great welcome since we've been here. People in cafes have said hello and, oh, you're doing that, yeah. And people volunteered to help on the day.
It's not something you can describe, but most people, once they go in a balloon, it is just this awe. It is a fantastic way to travel. You'll go with the wind, there's no noise. I don't know how to describe it really, it's quite magical.
That's incredible. That is it for CBC Windsor News. And before we go, we just want to remind you about that severe thunderstorm warning for Windsor, Essex. It is happening right now. Chance of hail, strong winds, heavy rainfall, and possibility of tornadoes as well. So just keep an eye out and stay safe tonight. Thanks for watching.